Hello and welcome to the third episode of the Fighting For Truth Behind the Scenes. Today I'll be going over the third day of shooting. There will not be any footage in this episode because we were so short-staffed again. There were a couple of big obstacles that we had to overcome to shoot this scene. So I'll be going over that. So without further ado, let's get started. So on the third day of shooting, we shot the fourth scene. We are unable to shoot in chronological order just because of locations and for a couple of scenes we're going to need a lot of extras, not a lot, but some, and it'll just overall work better to shoot this out of order. And this fourth scene that we shot is one of the most important scenes in the movie. It's a dialogue scene, and as I said before in the last two episodes actually, I was on set of that. It's in my basement in a storage area. We just cleared it out, put a desk in there. We put a couple of 3-ring binders, a lamp, some vanilla folder things, and added a kind of a cool lighting setup, and it looked fantastic. This fourth scene is the first scene where you get to see the new villain that we've added in this movie. He's mentioned in Looking for Truth. He was originally in Looking for Truth, but due to unable to get an actor to play him, or not wanting to have a person play two characters, which really would not have benefited the movie at all. We cut him and added him in this movie. I'm just gonna give his name and who plays him. His name is Kyle Weston. Colonel Smith mentions him in the briefing scene when he's briefing all of the people on James. I think it's the 10th scene in the movie, so watch it and you'll hear him mention it at the end of the scene. And then who's playing him is gonna sound kind of weird. It's Luke Paulson, who played James in the last movie. Now, it's not ideal that we have a person play the main character in the last movie, and then to have him play still a big role, a secondary role. He's not necessarily a main character, but play a different character in another movie. But because of, again, finding people to play characters in your movies for low budget to no budget films is extremely difficult. So we had to settle with having Luke play him, but we created a character completely different from James. James was a leader and was willing to die, and eventually did die for his faith. This Kyle Weston is the complete opposite. He's not a Christian. He is completely blind to Christianity, and he is a trained killer. So we had to create a character for Luke to differ from James, and I think we can pull it off. Luke has done an excellent job just figuring out who Kyle is and trying to differ him from who James was, so I think it's going to turn out great. And then the obstacle that we had to get over in this shooting, the fourth scene, was actually a pretty big one. So the gist of it was Jake, who plays Colonel Smith, was not going to be able to get to my house to shoot until I think it was noon, and Luke Paulson had to work at 2. We were not going to be able to shoot the whole scene in only like an hour and a half, I think, because they had to be out of here by 2, and then he had to work at 2:30. So what we ended up doing is we had Luke come in at 10, I think, and we had to shoot his dialogue, and the problem was that we had to do over the shoulders, OTSs as we'd call them. So we needed someone to put on Jake's military uniform and basically just read off his lines while we shoot over their shoulder. The person we used was my sister. She plays Abby in the first one. She only has a tiny part in that one, but she's gonna have a pretty big role in this next movie. If that doesn't make sense, I'm gonna simplify it just really quick. So we had Luke come in, do his dialogue. We had Michaela put on the jacket, and we'd shoot over her shoulders. She'd read off the lines. So I'm giving a lot of credit to Luke, because acting off of a different person and then having to act off another person it sounds kind of easy, And with what we're doing, it's not as hard as it would be if we were doing a professional movie with professional actors that prepare a ton for their pieces that they do. But it all worked out. After we shot Luke's dialogue, Jake got there and we did a master shot, which is just a shot of the whole scene played out. It's kind of like a play, honestly. We just did a wide shot of them doing the whole scene, and then we just did the over the shoulders for Jake's dialogue, and it turned out great. I mean, we've already edited the scene and I'm really happy with it. So there you go, that's the behind the scenes of the third day of shooting Fighting for Truth. I know it was short, but we were so short staffed that we were unable to shoot any behind the scenes. The next time we shoot, I promise we will have someone shoot behind the scenes. Once again, I'm putting the links to the channels that are helping us make these movies, which are Fishbowlbob Productions and 2020 Vision. Go check them out, like the videos, subscribe. And just as a note, there will not be an episode of behind the scenes next week because I don't have any other shooting days to go over. I will be continuing behind the scenes when we resume shooting, which will be about a month from now, as I said. But I was thinking about doing like a about in Focus Arts. So we do like interviews with all the cast and the crew and actors and stuff like that, just to see what it's like to be a part of In Focus Arts. So I'll update if that's going to or not going to happen. Thanks for watching, and see you next time.